Hi, readers and listeners, and welcome to another Fresh Fiction Video Book Club. I'm Samantha Tennant, and today's guest is Julie Miller. Okay, Julie has quite the backlist. Her first Harlequin book was published with Harlequin back in 2000. She's been on the Publishers Weekly bestselling, Amazon bestselling, USA Today bestselling. She's received multiple awards, including the National Reader's Choice. She's already received a Career Achievement Award for her series in romantic suspense. And that's not the only thing she writes. She has also done paranormal romantic suspense. So we'll touch on that too in different writing styles. And she has sold millions of books around the world. Julie, it is so good to see you today.
It's nice to be here. I wasn't sure what to expect, but you guys look like you have a good time here.
Oh, we always have fun here at Fresh Fiction and lots of discussion about what we're reading across all of the different genres.
I wrote down some of the titles that people were saying. I thought, oh, that sounds like I'd like that.
See, that's the benefit of actually joining our Zoom calls live, because that way you actually get to hear what everybody else is reading in the comments and we get into more discussion. But of course, your new book is Crime Scene Canine. And you know, we are always such a sucker for a book with a dog on the cover.
You and me both. Yeah.
Well, tell me about this series because, I mean, you've written so many different genres, but it seems like the military heroes, the cops, the suspense aspect of, oh my gosh, what's happening is that common theme throughout. I mean, what is it that really draws you to those particular elements?
Well, okay, so you've listed a lot of things. And I apologize for my voice coming and going. I have terrible allergies, and we've got like air quality alerts here, so I'm
Oh,
kind
man,
of
I can relate. Don't worry.
okay, thank you. Um, well, I've always loved romantic suspense. Before I started writing it, that's what I wanted to read. Um, it's on my bucket list to read everything that Agatha Christie has ever written. And I'm more than halfway, but my gosh, the woman was prolific. So before I even knew about romance, I always loved mysteries and the shows on TV that, police procedurals, um, any show where they had to find the killer or find the criminal or whatever. I I like putting puzzles together. And so that's kind of how my mind works. It's like I love finding clues, or as the writer, planting clues and some red herrings too. Um, and then when I discovered romance, I was like, oh, I really like the idea of the happy ending. But it was like a light bulb went off in my head when I read my first Harlequin intrigue. This dates me back in college when the first one was published. And it was like a light bulb went off in my head. It's like, my gosh, I can have this relationship and a great mystery and, like an action hero who's super protective. Um, I'm a Marine Corps brat. My dad was in the Marines. My younger brother was in the Marines and also in the Army National Guard, and he just retired this past year as a full bird colonel. Um, and so I've always had a thing for men in uniform. Um, and it's just I love that sense of justice. I love if I can put it all together. As you can see, my brain goes off on tangents. But to me, romantic suspense has all of that. I mean, I've got a puzzle to solve, I've got action and adventure, I've got a relationship, I've got a protective hero, I've got smart heroines. And then I have actually written many books that have had a dog or multiple dogs in it because we're dog people here. Um, we have two, we call them the doodle bugs, but they're poodle mixes. Um, that we have right now. They both have one eye. We didn't do that on purpose, but we've always had dogs. We love dogs. To me, they have such personalities.
Yeah.
I'm allergic to cats. I mean, I have nothing against cats. My grand cat seems to love me. which makes my daughter-in-law crazy. She's always like, I'm so sorry you're having asthma. I'm so sorry. I'm like, well, you can't help that. Um, but anyway, my current series, Harlequin has finally gotten on board with, okay, Julie's putting all these dogs in her books. Let's put the dogs on the cover too. And I love the covers I've been getting with this series. The whole series is called Protectors at Canine Ranch. And it's this woman, she's the heroine of the first book. That one's a mature romance. Uh, but she has started this, she had a trauma in her life early on. And so she has a service dog with her. And his name is Shadow, but she decided Shadow has been so good for her that she wants to rescue other dogs and train dogs to help people. And so Canine Ranch was born. And each book in the series, they're all standalone books, although there is a community of characters. So like she appears in every book. Um, Somebody who's the hero in one book comes back and plays a supporting character in another book, and so on. But all the dogs either come from Canine Ranch or have been trained at Canine Ranch. And there are canine partners, like in Crime Scene Canine, he's a veteran Marine, and Sky, his German Shepherd, is his canine partner, and they both get injured and sent home, sent back stateside. And my hero's having a harder time adjusting to civilian life. My my dog Sky is just like, hey, we're Marines. This is what we do. This lady's in trouble. Let's help her. So it's anyway. Sorry, one of my dogs just got under the desk and sat on my foot.
Speaking of the doodle, was right.
Yes, yes.
Well, that's one of the things that I so enjoy because there are so many different things that you are wrapping into your books. Like you said, and like with the first book in the series, right? With the more mature characters, this one you had the ghosting element and a secret that comes into play and is a significant plot point. So you're working on some of the different tropes, but then, like you said, you've got the strong female characters, you've got these heroic male characters, but with all of that you have the action for the romantic suspense element and that happily ever after, but there's also such an emotional kick that comes in, and then you layer on the mystery element. How are you during your writing process? Oh gosh, and you're going to tell me you're like making it all up on the fly, aren't you?
No,
I can just tell by the reaction right
you
there.
can finish your question.
How are you balancing all of that and having it come into play with your first copy of the script?
Well, I'm not a plotter. People think that when you write romantic suspense, you have to plot it out.
I know, and this blows my mind. Every time talking to somebody who does suspense or mystery, they're like, eh.
Yeah, I watched your interview with BJ Daniels, and I know BJ, the just weird stuff comes out of her head, and it's like she doesn't plot at all. When I start a story, I usually have an idea for two, maybe three scenes. Usually it's the meat. Uh, I almost always have what I call it the climactic battle, what the confrontation is going to be like. And then sometimes I have another scene idea in there, but I feel that I'm a character driven author. I really, my friend Dolores Fawson calls me a cooker. She says, there's just always something going on in that head of yours. And there is. If I trust my characters, like like I know it's going to be a mature romance, or it's going to be a second chance romance like this book, or whatever it might be. I really get to know my characters, and then I plug my characters into the trope. And if I know my characters and I trust my characters, they will take me where the story needs to go. Usually the only time I run into a problem with my writing is when I'm trying to make my characters do something that isn't right for them. Uh, like my heroine in this book has an anxiety disorder, and it was really important for me to get that right. Um, and so, there was one scene where I wanted her to do this thing, and it turned out my copy editor, uh, she contacted me and we had an email conversation. She says, I have an anxiety disorder, and she probably wouldn't do this. And so it was like another light bulb moment. It was like, oh, thank you so much. And that scene, I thought it was awkward, and she thought it was awkward, but she could pinpoint why. So it's like that's not how that character would react. That is not what she would do. And so if I'm true to the characters, they guide me through the story. My scene ideas when I start, I call them like signposts. It's like I know where I'm going to start, and I know eventually I need to get to signpost A, but how I get from A to from the first one to the second one, that's the fun part of writing for me. It's just kind of like, okay, I'm going to plug them into this story idea, go. And then I mean, sometimes it's like a movie playing in my head. It's like, what would these characters do? What would these characters talk about? Um, and then I write it down. I hope I can write fast enough to get it down before the idea goes away.
And so do those other elements come in during rewrite or during the edit process? Like you said with Zoe, where she was having the where her reaction wasn't probably as true to life as it might have been. So the different research elements, do those come in after the fact? The same thing with some of the mystery elements, where again, like you were talking about red herrings. I mean, are those things that are happening the first go round, or do you go back afterwards because you've laid out that initial movie? It's like, okay, here's where I can maybe steer them.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a draft writer. When I hit the end, I'm done.
Mm.
Um, but I do every day. I go back and edit what I've written the day before to get me into the story, but also, it refreshes that scene in my head. And then I may be writing 2 or 3 chapters later in the story. It's like, I know what I need to do to, I've got to set that up better, or no, I've got a better idea. And then I will go right then and fix or add or change whatever I need to do so that happens in my story. So I trust my instincts. I know I'm probably not a good person to teach writing because it's kind of like, well, it's in my head. You kind of, I mean, I've written 80 books, so I kind of have an idea of what I'm doing. I guess they all haven't been romantic suspense, but they all have those elements. And it's kind of like trust your instincts, trust your characters, and just keep going. And then when that correction comes to me further down the road, I've never, knock on wood, had it happen like when I'm done with a book. It's like it is either already come to me and I've changed it, or it's not gonna. It's not part of the story.
And I love the flashes of inspiration that you were talking about. I'm like, oh, now I know what I need to do.
Yeah.
So I'm sure those flashes are not always conveniently happening when you're sitting right in front of the laptop, right? So what are you doing when you're like out and about and you send, and I'm assuming in that flash comes to you, or do you keep a notebook with you, or do you recall enough to just like, okay, because I can't keep a thought in my head past 15 minutes nowadays.
I am the queen of sticky notes. I have these notepads all over the house, in the car, in my purse, and if something comes to me, I jot it down. Um, Sometimes I'll send myself a text if for some reason I don't have a piece of paper, or like I'm at a concert or watching a movie and the idea comes. I was like, just kind of do this now where no one can see. Um, but yeah, when the idea comes, I jot it down. Or if I'm sitting at my computer, sometimes I'll just open up a new file and say, you know, he needs to kiss her here. Or, some great bit of dialogue comes in. It's like I write that dialogue down, save it, and then go back to work.
Mhm.
So
And
yeah.
I love that because I see, no, it's not stupid because I think those are also things that translate to any other type of writing. Also, I wish I was more of a writer, but I have to write a lot for the day job and other technical type documents and things. And I'll just kind of open up another Word file. And like you said, it's like, oh, okay, here's a quick thing. Let me jot that
Right.
down and I can go back and manipulate it later or fine tune
Mhm.
it, but at least I get it down.
Yeah.
And I
I
know
think that's
I have
important.
pages of stuff, and I'm like, oh no, no, this is not going to be the final document. Yes, it's 10 pages now, and I know I have to have one page. It'll
Oh, good luck cutting that down. I was
Did you find that your process or your I mean you said sometimes it's like you're seeing a movie. Did you find that to be different when you were writing paranormal? And were the rules and those might be self-imposed rules, but were they different for you?
no, I I think the paranormal books play out like a movie in my head too.
Mhm.
Probably the main difference between my paranormal romances and my straight romantic suspense is my paranormals are more by the seat of my pants.
Mhm.
I mean, I read a lot of YA fantasy books. My husband is a huge fantasy reader, so if we watch a lot of fantasy movies and TV shows. Um, and it's just kind of like, I mean, maybe that should happen now. It's very instinctual when I whereas uh, I think I'm a little more cerebral with the romantic suspense as opposed to like, oh, what shall we write today? And then it's like, oh, I know what's going to happen here, and the dog's going to be the only one who knows that he's bad. He senses his bad magic, and um, it that's the main difference to me. Um, I mean, I still and I wrote those paranormals a few years back, and then I have within the last 2-3 years I have updated them, fleshed them out a little bit, and then I've got two more stories in that series I want to do because that was a team of five former military men, but there's a different paranormal element in each book, and I've had that idea percolating in the back of my head for a few years now. It's like I got to get those books written, but those are indie books, and when you're under contract, I kind of feel like I need to make sure I hit those deadlines first. And
Mhm.
but it's coming. They'll be there.
Well, and you mentioned your husband, and I wanted to ask about him also. I mean, because he writes YA. And so,
Yes.
what is it like having another writer in the house with you? Do you guys bounce ideas off, or is it, or does he have such a different style and a different target for the books that it doesn't quite overlap or mesh?
Well, we do write pretty different. He's written children's books, but he writes YA historical fiction. And I love history, so I help with that element of it sometimes. I'm his proofreader. A lot of times, he'll say, "Read this." I was an English teacher in my former life, so and
I
grammar
heard you
really
were the
comes.
grammar goddess. Yes.
Yeah, I have friends who'll who'll send me an email and they say, "I wrote. What is wrong with this? Why doesn't this make sense?" I was like, "Well, because you have a dangling participle or whatever. It's just I don't know that my brain retained that. I haven't been in the classroom for several years, but that information doesn't really change." So,
True.
and then he helps me. He tells his friends this. I think he gets a kick out of it. Um, I'm not a person who does a lot of brainstorming I don't like other ideas, maybe because I'm not a plotter and I do have all of this in my head. It's like I don't like other people's ideas getting in my head because it kind of muddies up the water for me. But over the years, I have used him many times. I don't know if you call it as a model or what, but it's like I'll say, "Hun," he'll be downstairs writing or watching TV, and I say, "Could you stand up a second?" And then I'll pick up a pen and I'll say, "Okay, if I grab you like this, where would I stab you?" You know, so he's helped me with things like that. He's like, you know,
How are you going to kill me today? What are you doing?
right, right. Hey, I have a book on poisons, and he's like, "Should I be worried that you're reading that?" And I'm like, "Well, you never know." So he's my research assistant, I guess.
I mean, not to be worried about having a book on poisons, but it's good to be aware.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
I
yes.
have never, I have never, I have never poisoned anyone in real life. I've never killed anyone in real life. It's every now and then you get a weird question from a reader. It's like, "Oh, did you do that?" I'm like, "No, I'd be in prison if I did that." Or, it's just it's a good imagination and good research. I have been blessed, mostly through my teaching career, to have contact with a lot of professional, firefighters, police officers, DEA agents, trauma nurses, and so on. And those people love it if I text them and say, "Hey, I got a question. Where can I shoot my guy so the heroin can fix him and he doesn't have to go to the ER?" You know, they they love stuff like that. Or, I remember talking to the DEA agent one time about working undercover, and it was fascinating. I mean, that's my favorite kind of research, to talk to somebody who's actually walked the walk, and I pick up, the jargon they use, and sometimes I use a version of a story they've shared with me or something. Um,
And that's the
so
thing that always cracked up my teachers and professors in school and friends now of like, yeah, I may not have actually been in this situation, but I think I would be fairly confident I would know how to dispose of a body if I really needed to. You know, who to call, what the necessary steps would be. I mean,
mhm.
these are just good facts and research.
It's helpful things to know. Doesn't mean
Exactly.
I haven't actually done it, but it's good to know
Exactly.
stuff. I like learning things.
Yes. And with that comment, let's transition over to what we call our fresh fiction facts.
Oh, okay.
These are off the top questions meant to be kind of rapid fire, see what initially comes at you, okay?
Okay.
All right, we'll start off kind of easy. You've been kidnapped,
Mhm.
but they return you after 2 hours because you will not stop talking about what?
Anything, everything. I'm a shy person, and when I get really nervous and uncomfortable, I just babble. I will go on and on about anything and nothing, and they probably either gonna gag me or shoot me or send me back because I just won't shut up.
Just in case you find yourself in a dire situation, like being kidnapped or trapped or something, what three items do you think you should always have on you just in case?
Um, well, it'd be helpful if I had a phone or a computer, but I'm probably, if I'm in a dire situation, I probably don't have my computer with me, um, but it's important to make sure you have a phone that works, like you're in cell range of something. Um, I think um, maybe a knife or some kind of something, because if I'm bound, or if I need to free myself, or I need to jimmy a lock to get out of somewhere, or pry open the back of the trunk of a car, uh, a good knife would be helpful.
Mhm.
Not that I carry one, but maybe I should. Oh, what's a third thing? Um, Oh my gosh. I would like to have a card or a name in my phone that I can show it to somebody and they'd say, "Oh hell, we don't want to mess with her. She knows. I got him on speed dial." Yeah, I don't know.
I like
Several
that one.
fictional characters come to mind. I can think of heroes from different books I've read. It's like, if he were real,
Yeah.
I'm calling him. And
Totally
he should
avoid
be
the
afraid.
situation. Yep, stay
Right.
away.
Yes.
Who would you most not want to be stuck in an elevator with?
Oh. Well, I don't want to be stuck in an elevator because I'm claustrophobic. I would not. Oh my gosh. Um, I would not want to be stuck with somebody who's going to panic, who's going to complain. And I mean, it's like if we can all stay calm, we can think of something. But if somebody's just freaking out on me, like not even trying, uh, I'd have a problem with that.
What is something that can immediately take you out of the story? Either something that you're reading or a movie or TV show you're watching.
Um, oh gosh, there are several things. Probably, okay, the easiest one is because I come from an English teacher background, if the grammar is wrong. I mean, I'm okay, like in dialogue, people do not use perfect grammar. So if it's internal thought or dialogue, I don't have a problem. But like if it's the narrative or an action scene, if there's like the wrong verb tense or something is misspelled, I just I can what Sarah was talking about earlier. I mean, I could give you maybe two chances with that, but if the third one comes along, then I'm reading it like an English teacher, and I'm not into the story anymore. I'm kind of like grading it, like,
Mm,
"Ooh, we'd have to stay after school and review some of these skills."
gotcha. Okay. What bad movie do you legitimately enjoy?
Oh, I love movies. We go see a lot of movies. Um, a bad movie I legitimately enjoy. I I love a good action, a buddy action flick, and they could be cussing almost every other word, or the dialogue can be trite and stupid. But if that relationship is solid and the bad guys are bad and they beat them, I don't know what would be a good like Hobbs and Shaw, Jason
Oh,
Statham,
yeah.
and Dwayne Johnson. I mean, in my opinion, there's been a few too many Fast and Furious movies made.
You think? Just a few?
I'm like, can they
I've
keep
watched
counting
all
that
of
high?
them.
But I love them all. I like them. I just have a thing for the good guys win, and I love anything with a team. The Magnificent Seven. Um, Oh, okay. Of course, now they've all gone blank. The Dirty Dozen, the Fast and Furious series, the Avengers, anything with a team. I just love that. Everybody has their own specialty. They have their different personalities that sometimes clash and stuff. So I really don't care how the quality is, but I just love that. I love that plot setup.
Okay, sticking with the movies then. What movie, and you can only pick one, okay? What one movie do you wish you could rewrite the ending of?
Oh, so many.
That's why I said one, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I know most movies are made for what is it, the teenage, they're written for men in their teens and 20s, so they hardly ever get the romance right. Um, arg, oh, this is almost too hard for me. Um, I maybe would rewrite the end of Avengers Endgame just because Iron Man dies and Captain America fades into the sunset, and there's so many supporting characters there at the funeral. It's like, wait, who's that? Oh, that's somebody grown up and blah. It's like I wanted I wanted more details, and I loved Iron Man. I mean, I know that was a really powerful moment when he snaps his fingers and takes care of Thanos and saves the universe. But it's like, seriously, did he have to die?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So that's the one that comes to mind. There's a lot of romances that I won't go into
Oh,
because
yeah.
they end them the way men would like to see them end. But I couldn't pick just one.
What is your most dog-eared book? The one that you just continue to go back to for rereads, either for pleasure or for research?
Um, let's see, I have read, it's a classic. I've read Jane Eyre
Mm.
many times since I first read it in high school. Um, it's weird. I kind of find the language is a little harder as I get older. It's like, oh, I remember I like the story better than I'm liking all of this wordy language, but I still reread it about once every other year. Um, I'm actually a habit I've gotten into in recent years too. When I'm on deadline, I can't read a book like what I'm writing, but
Mm.
yet romantic suspense is what or military romance or something. That's what I like to read. Uh, but I find the details get in my head, or if the book's really good, I'd rather read the book than write my own. But so I've gotten in the habit of rereading favorites. Like I've been rereading Lynn Ray Harris's Hot Seal series. It's like I've read them all before. There's something if I've read them before and I know what's going on. It doesn't stick in my head like when I read it the first time and I'm imagining what's going to happen next and what's going to get in their way and blah blah blah. So I reread a lot. I'm a fast reader and I'm always reading something. But yeah, so I reread a lot just because it's easier when I'm writing. Now, when I finish a book, I do what I call a binge read, and that's when I have like, you know, 5 new books on my Kindle or a stack of books beside the bed, and I give myself 3, 4, 5 days to just read and read and read. So those are my new books. That's when I get those.
Gotcha.
I don't, my
Hey,
brain is weird.
I like that. Don't worry. Other than books, what is something that you own an absurd amount of?
Oh dear. Um, my husband says I collect collections of things. Um, I'm a okay. The what I'm looking at them right now here on my desk. I'm a big Doctor Who fan,
Oh,
and so I have, like I have my pin box
of
is
course.
a TARDIS. I've got there's a Dalek and a Cyberman up there. A friend got a painting of a Dalek that's hanging on the wall up there. I got a ton of Doctor Who stuff. I've
Okay,
gone to
so
Comic Cons and gotten their autographs and
I
things.
have to ask the obvious then. Which one is your favorite doctor?
My favorite. Oh, well, I've loved all of the modern era
And of course,
ones.
notice my name, right? I'm just saying.
He's my favorite, David Tennant.
Yeah, right?
Both I mean, I loved Matt Smith. I even like a lot of people complained about Peter Capaldi. I loved Peter Capaldi. They bring something different to it, but yeah, David Tennant. He can do the angry, angsty stuff, and yet he can babble on with the timey-wimey stuff too. And of
I have to say,
course,
he's the one that really brought me into the Doctor Who stuff. It's one of those I'd always watched over the years. I was like, this is too weird. I gave it the chance with number 9. I'm like, it's still really weird. But then
yeah.
it was David Tennant. And my brother is also David Tennant. I was like, okay, I've got to
Oh
watch
wow.
this.
Oh, I love Tom Baker was the first one I watched. I see that comment down there. I
Mhm.
watched him in college. Was that college? I don't know. Somewhere along the way, I watched a lot of Tom Baker, and I thought, I don't know why that speaks to me. Sometimes I can't understand what they're saying. They're talking so fast with their British accents, but I just loved it. And then I love Peter Davison. And then the next two or three I didn't watch regularly because that's when I got married and started a career and raising a child. And but I sent my son off to college and I'm back.
Definitely one of those things you can pop back in and catch up, and
Yes,
the joys of all the streaming services now. Yes. Yeah.
yes.
Well, Julie, with those particular timey-wimey comments, I think that ties up our recorded portion of the interview. But don't go anywhere, because we still have our happy hours with our other readers where they'll be able to ask you some other questions offline. And readers, with that, be sure, if you haven't checked out Julie's latest book, Crime Scene Canine, it is out there, and it's number 5 in the series. So you can go all the way back to number 1 and the other series. There's lots of dogs here, people. I mean, these
A
are
lot of dogs.
fun, emotional reads, great heroes and heroines. But again, the latest is Crime Scene Canine. And Julie, before we completely tap out, where is the best place for our readers to stay up with you and find out exactly what's going on?
Um, I'm really good. I have a Facebook author page. If you look up Julie Miller author, I post there every day, Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekend. I have a website, uh, www.juliemiller.org, O-R-G. So those are probably the two best places. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok, but I confess I rarely do TikTok. It's just, I never wear makeup. I don't know. I don't want to, there's a lot I don't want to have on film. So I would say Facebook or my website.
Okay. Well, readers, this is Samantha Tennant. And again, I want to thank Julie Miller for joining the Fresh Fiction Video Book Club.
Thank you for having me.